I'm attorney Michael Tyler, bringing you guests and information to help you get legal. Hello, welcome to another installment of Get Legal. I'm your host, attorney Michael Tyler. Before I get into my guest, I want to go over a topic that has been, bugging me a little bit over the past few weeks. And the topic that I want to discuss is dealing with car accidents and auto insurance that you should have during car accidents. As most of you know, I am a personal injury attorney here in Baton Rouge. In that, I deal with a lot of motor vehicle accidents. I could tell you right now, if you are involved in an accident and you come to me for representation, or if you do go to another attorney for representation, the first thing that we as attorneys are going to ask you is the same thing that the at-fault insurer is going to ask us. Did your client possess the state minimum liability insurance? This is important because state law mandates if you're involved in an accident and you don't possess the minimum insurance coverage, then you're not allowed to receive compensation for your injuries and for your property damage up to a certain amount of dollars. This is called Louisiana's no pay, no play law. Now, this isn't something that's not new. All injury attorneys have dealt with this, but the reason why this particular issue is now bugging me is because as of late, I've had various clients come into the office who were involved in automobile accidents, and their statement to me on the did you have insurance at the time of the accident, their statement has been, well, I was driving the car, I recently purchased it from someone, and they told me I could drive it under their insurance. Well, that creates a problem. And that creates a problem that insurance companies are currently seizing upon because they're making the argument that in actuality, the driver of the vehicle is not covered under a required insurance policy. Now, for me, I'm going to have to make the opposite argument, given the fact that I have to zealously advocate for my client. The decision in those cases are going to turn on the facts. How did the sales transaction between you and the other individual occur? Was it an installment agreement? So on and so forth. It's going to be a very nuanced process. But sometimes the end of that process will result in the client not being able to recover. So I wanted to utilize this time to please advise everyone to go out and get at least minimum state coverage. In Louisiana, that is 15 for bodily injury, and that's 15,000, and 25,000 for property damage. This is required. Not only does it allow others that you operate on the road with to be protected if you so happen to hit them, but as you see, it will protect you as well if you are injured. So please protect yourself and make things easier for those who have to go in and advocate for you. Having said that, now I would like to go ahead and transition into the reason why I wanted us to gather here today. And that is to talk about something that, at least for a few years for me, given some of my organizational involvements, that has become a very big topic in various seminars and amongst various groups of individuals who gather to discuss things on a daily or weekly basis. And that is the topic of reverse mortgages. I'm sure you've seen a commercial that advertised something called a reverse mortgage on TV. However, in my conversations with people, I would venture to say that out of a group of 10, all 10 do not know what a reverse mortgage entails. Well, that is why today I have brought to you Mr. Rick Greene. Rick, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Michael, and I appreciate you doing this. We, like you said, a lot of times 10 out of 10 people don't know what this is, and our biggest challenge as lenders is to educate people on the product. It's probably one of the most misunderstood products in my 35 years of mortgage banking that we've ever come across. But fortunately, the education process, if you do inquire and if you do proceed with one of these, is very good. It's very extensive. The reverse mortgage borrower, by the time they close their loan, is probably one of the best educated borrowers of any financial product that's out there today. but it's a great product. It's one that it's not just a product of last resort, and that's kind of the reputation that it got. Just the name reverse mortgage isn't the greatest name in the world for the product, because it indicates going backwards, changing direction, things like that, so it's really not what what it would appear to be. It's a financial tool that financial advisors are talking about today too.
Okay.
And it's not for people that necessarily need the money today.
Correct.
But I think you had some questions or some direction you wanted us to go in.
Well, absolutely. I know one thing. I have a degree in accounting,
Right.
a bachelor's in accounting. And within my schooling, we learned about various financial products, but I can honestly say I did not learn about a reverse mortgage until maybe 3-4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can, just please tell us, what exactly is a reverse mortgage?
It was developed, actually Ronald Reagan was the first president to sign off on the program. It's a government insured FHA program, and they lay out the rules for the most part on how these occur. But it's they're for borrowers that are 62 years or older. Now it's just one borrower in the house has to be at least 62. You need to own the home. Now you don't have to own it free and clear. You can have a mortgage on the home today, and quite frankly, most of the loans that we do entail paying off an existing mortgage and eliminating that mortgage payment from their budget. But it allows you to access the equity in your house to utilize either in retirement or at some future date. They're set up as lines of credit, so it works just like a traditional line of credit. And the thing to remember is too, it's a mortgage loan like any other mortgage loan. It's not some crazy exotic product that you lose ownership of the house and you title it over to the bank, and the bank takes the house at the end and that sort of thing. The bank doesn't want the house, the investors don't want the house, so it stays with you. You are titled, and that doesn't change. It's very, very flexible. You have a choice of making payments or not making payments. So you get a monthly statement on these loans like you would a normal home equity line of credit, and you have the options of paying a regular payment like you normally would, paying interest only, some other amount that you may want to pay, or pay nothing at all. There is the option of not making principal and interest payments on this loan. And that's for the life of the loan, and the loan can't be called, so you don't have any worry of that happening. The things that you are responsible for as a homeowner are the taxes and insurance, which would be the same as if you didn't have any mortgage at all. You still keep the house insured, you pay your property taxes, and you maintain the property. Typically, if you don't pay property taxes and that sort of thing, you would lose the house anyway. But that can put you into default on this, because the house is the collateral for the loan, so the investors have to be protected, against tax liens and physical damage and things such as that.
Okay. There were a couple of things that you said there that I want to touch on. The first one is you stated that you can forego making monthly payments on this loan.
Correct.
That's an option that you have.
That's an option.
Now with that, I'm sure, just like I'm going to, I guess, liken it to student loans, and correct me if I'm wrong, but on student loans, I can defer the payment of certain things over time, and then eventually it catches up with me.
Mm-hmm.
Is it similar here?
It is. It's a loan, so there's interest charged on the loan. The interest is very similar. Today's rates are right along with whatever a regular first mortgage rate would be. Mm-hmm. But the interest is charged monthly. You'll get a monthly statement. So if you have drawn 50 or 100,000 or whatever it is out of your line of credit, you'll get a statement that shows that percent of interest as being charged to it and added to the balance. So the balance does grow. Now these loans start out, you can borrow usually right around 45 to 55% of the value of the property is the maximum amount that you can borrow on these loans. And that's for a couple of reasons. The main reason, though, is to leave you with equity if you ever have to sell the house in the future, because there are no prepayment penalties. You can sell at any time you would like. You can move, you can do whatever you'd like you would with a normal loan, but the loan does have to be paid off at that particular point in time. The difference between a reverse mortgage and a regular mortgage is these loans are non-recourse. Now what that means is that you'll never owe more than the property is worth.
Oh, okay.
So if we go into, like we did in 08 and 09, into a real estate recession where many people in this country went upside down, their mortgages were
absolutely correct.
were more than their the value of their homes. Well, in those cases, if you decided to sell your home and your house is worth $200 and you have a $250,000 balance, you only would owe the $200. And there's no deficiency judgment, there's no credit implications, nothing like that. That's part of the program.
Okay.
Which also includes your estate. If you should, use away and the property goes to the estate as it normally would.
Okay.
Your heirs inherit the property. They would either sell the property and divide what's left as far as the equity goes, or if they are in a situation where they're in a negative equity situation, and they owed more on the house, with a normal mortgage, that deficiency comes out of other assets in the estate. So the estate owes the whole balance. With a reverse mortgage, the estate does not owe the deficiency balance.
Okay.
So it's a protection from that standpoint. So you're never going to get upside down, so to speak, on these loans.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, I have a few more questions for you, and we will get into those after we come back from this quick break. Welcome back. So I'm sitting here with Rick Greene with Gulf Coast Bank and Trust. We're talking reverse mortgages. Rick, earlier we were discussing how this reverse mortgage product is similar to some other credit type products.
Correct.
My question, what makes the reverse mortgage different from, let's say, a home equity line of credit or HELOC?
That's a very common question, because when the counseling is done, all of the options are laid out for the borrower. So if you are looking to see what works best for you, you're shown a regular HELOC, a regular refinance of an existing mortgage, or selling your property. So they kind of open all those doors. Now the difference between the home equity, the technical name is the home equity conversion mortgage. So it is sort of a HELOC itself. And it works structurally very much the same in that you would have, we do a loan application, we appraise the property, we lend you a certain amount of that appraisal, and it's set up as a line of credit. Now your initial draw may be paying off an existing mortgage, but the balance, like on a normal HELOC, will be there for you to draw as you need it. Now they do set a 60% maximum draw on the first year on our mortgage. So what that does is it sort of regulates the cash flow, so that you don't have people that are just pulling out all the money and spending it right away. It gives them some sort of discipline on that. But at any rate, it works very much the same. You're only charged for what you have withdrawn. Now there are numerous ways that you can take it. You could take a lump sum payment and take it all at once if you wanted. Or you can set up a schedule of payments based on what's in the account, or you can set up a lifetime sort of draw that will give you a check for the rest of your life. It'll deposit into your account. So that's generally, it's the flexibility of this loan. It's the most flexible mortgage loan you can get with regard to how you get the money, how you pay the money back, if you pay the money back in your lifetime, that sort of thing. So it gives you total control over your mortgage loan as to what you want to do with it.
Okay. Now, from the standpoint of the funds, is there a particular reason, like if, let's say, John Q. customer comes into your office, do you normally get a routine set of responses as to why they are there in the first place?
Right. It's there are a lot of reasons, and the number one reason right now, I guess, is just paying off an existing mortgage. Someone that might have a $1,500 up to $3,000 or $4,000 a month mortgage payment, if we convert it to the reverse mortgage, that pretty much goes away, with the exception of taxes and insurance. So that in itself greatly improves their budget and their cash flow on a monthly basis, just eliminating that payment. Some people that don't have any mortgage will set it up as a line of credit, and we had an individual the other day that did that, and he didn't need the money, but he had researched the product and he had learned how it works, and so he set up about a $300,000 credit line, and not intending to use it anytime soon. But with these mortgages, the line of credit grows at about 5% a year, the unused portion. So it sort of keeps up with the inflation and that sort of thing, but it will automatically grow. So in his case, he was taking one out now for I think it started out around $300,000, and by the time 10 years from now, he's going to have close to $500,000 of funds that he can draw however he wants to, whenever he wants to, one lump check, however he wants to do that, and it's tax-free. There are no taxes on it because it's a loan, and technically it's your money. So there are no tax implications on that.
Wow.
So it's there are a lot of different uses. We've actually helped people who were going into not bankruptcy, but going into foreclosure, and about to lose the house because the current mortgage, they couldn't afford it anymore. A lot of times when people move into the retirement phase of their life, the income can change, and sometimes radically change. And about 62 is the age for this, and there are about 10 to 12,000 people a day that are turning 62 years of age. So that segment of our economy is really growing, and the segment of population. They in most surveys find that most of them don't feel like they have enough reserves to live the lifestyle they're accustomed to.
Absolutely.
So what this allows you to do is, when you look at a balance sheet, it may look pretty good, but many times the largest number on there is the home.
Correct.
And which is terrific, but you can't spend that. I mean, that's just there. It's frozen.
It's not cash.
It's not liquid. It's not cash. And this allows you to take control of it and manage it the way it works best for you. So.
Now let's say a client of yours is in one of these reverse mortgage products. While under a reverse mortgage, is it possible for that client to ever possibly undergo a foreclosure on that property?
It would be, and this is something that that does come up. How could I lose the house? I mean, if I don't have to make payments, it sounds like it'd be impossible.
Correct.
Well, there are terms that have to be followed, and those terms are that you do pay your taxes on the property. You have to keep the property insured to protect the property, and then you maintain the property. So, those are the main things. It's pretty rare because if somebody gets in a situation like that, they're typically, the servicer will work out some terms. A lot of times it's the taxes that aren't getting paid, but it's monitored every year. The servicer keeps up with whether you're paying them or not and that sort of thing. So, but other than that, you don't have principal and interest payments due. So, and the loan will never be called.
Okay.
So as long as you're living there and you remain in the property, it won't be called. And you can move. Some people after a few years decide, I really would like to sell this house. Oh. Well, there are no prepayment penalties. You pay it off like you would a normal mortgage when you sell it, and you go do something else. And we do purchase money reverse transactions now. We've closed a couple of purchases this month.
Okay.
Where people will, they'll have a lot of cash, maybe from a previous sale, and they'll do a reverse mortgage on the purchase so that they can retain a lot of the cash and not have a principal and interest monthly payment they've got to pay.
Okay.
So it works real well for those folks. We've seen financial advisor situations where you may have, a lot of people have investment accounts when they retire, and they may be cashing in some of those investments every month to live. It's called sequence of returns risk when the market goes down. And now these assets might have been worth $100, now they're worth 60. So you're selling them at 60 instead of 100. Well, what you could do with a reverse mortgage, if you have the line of credit available to you, is you can actually make withdrawals from the line of credit, leave the investment account alone. The market has historically always come back, and it allows time for the investment to get back to where it was, without cashing it in at a distressed price.
Okay. Now tell you now, one of the main questions I had when I was going around assisting community centers with bringing speakers in for certain topics was ultimately with this product, what happens when the person who received the reverse mortgage passes away?
If it's a husband and a wife, it remains in place until the last remaining spouse passes away.
Okay.
So there's no issues there. If they both pass away, or if the last passes away, the property goes into the estate like it normally would. There's a succession. The heirs inherit the house like they normally would. They have usually about a year's time to decide what they're going to do with the reverse. Are they going to pay it off? Are they going to sell the house? Or how are they going to liquidate it? Because it does come due at that time, like any mortgage loan would. So it's really no different there. But they do have those options. And again, like we said earlier, it will never be worth, they'll never have to pay off more than what the house is worth. So the other assets are protected from that standpoint.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, Rick, we're running out of time here, but in about a minute or so, can you just give any other information about this product that maybe we did not cover?
Yeah, I think well, the biggest things that we're faced with is the education process. And it's letting people know what this product is really about and getting them to understand it. A lot of people have some negative opinions of it right away. It doesn't sound like something you might want to do. But what we encourage people to do is contact us and talk to us, and we will explain everything. We'll even run scenarios on your exact situation. So we'll run out a loan amortization schedule that shows you how much you can get, what the balance will be in 10 years, and all these different things. So we can give you a complete rundown on the whole program and all the information, so that you can make an educated decision as to whether this is something you should do. And typically when people have met with us and talked to us, it's very rare that somebody might say, I don't think this is what I ought to do. Most people, and some may not do it, but most people all say, this is not really what I thought it was.
Right.
So that's our biggest thing, is getting through that. So yeah, people would just get in touch with us. We love to talk to people. We do a lot of consulting.
Okay.
And it's that kind of program.
Okay. Well, I thank you very much for your time and for imparting this information on to the viewers out there. Thanks for joining us this month for this particular installment of Get Legal with Attorney Tyler. Once again, please make sure if you're operating on the road that you have at least state minimum insurance. Otherwise, you make life hard for me and other people who are on the road with you. From the people here at MeTV, I would like to thank you for joining in. If you have any questions on reverse mortgages, contact Rick Greene, please. Thank you very much.